Hello and welcome to KBase video tutorials. In this video, we will explore the options for sharing data and workflows within KBase. KBase has multiple levels of sharing to allow work to be kept entirely private or to be shared easily with collaborators, organizations, or the public at large. First, we'll look at the levels of permissions. By default, all narratives within KBase are private. Only the user who creates the narrative can see it. We can share the narrative with three levels of permissions: view only, view and edit only, and view, edit, and share. Narratives can also be made public. Making a narrative public allows all KBase users to see the narrative. For narratives that have been made public, we can make a static HTML version of the narrative. This version contains a snapshot of the narrative at a particular point in time and can be viewed by anyone even outside of KBase. Next, we'll look at how to share narratives in KBase. From the narrative we want to share, we'll click on the Share button and then select Manage Sharing. This brings up a dialog box to choose options. If we want to make it public, we can simply click on Make Public. This can be reversed by clicking on the new link that says Make Private. To share with particular users, we'll type in the name of the user or users we want to add. We can add as many users as we want at one time. Then we choose the permissions we want to grant those users and click Apply. The users are now listed at the bottom of the pop-up window. From here, we can remove them or give them more or less access by clicking the red X or by choosing the appropriate option. To share with an organization, rather than keeping up with a list of individual users, we'll click on the Orgs tab, choose the appropriate organization from the drop-down menu, and click Apply. This will grant all members of that organization read-only permissions. To make a static narrative, we'll click on the Share button and then click Manage Static Narratives. This will bring up a pop-up box listing previous static versions of the public narrative, if any exist, and will list any changes since the previous static version of the narrative was created. If no previous static narrative exists, or if we want to make a new version based on the changes we've made, we'll click this blue Create Static Narrative button. Keep in mind that the narrative must have already been made public before we can make a static version of it. To create a static narrative, we will go to a narrative that is already public, then click on the Share button, and then click Manage Static Narratives. A pop-up box will appear listing an existing static narrative if there is one. If not, or if we want to create a new version of the static narrative after making updates, we'll click on the blue Create Static Narrative button. Once this is completed, we can click on the link to view the static narrative. The new tab that opens is the public HTML static narrative that has been generated. It is viewable by anyone outside of KBase. The static narrative contains all of the information of the original narrative, including markdown cells, app cells, and data viewers. At the top, we can see all of the data objects that have been included in this narrative and the Citations tab, which lists the citations for each app that was run. This link can also be shared freely with anyone, as no KBase login is needed to view it. Thank you for watching this KBase video tutorial. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Follow us on Twitter for updates about new functionality or KBase events, and if you have a question or encounter an error, please join our KBase help board.